Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. Shalom, shalom to the four, to the whole house of Yahshua, all 12 tribes worldwide. Wherever your feet are touching the soil on this yom, shalom and barak peace and blessings to you and your entire house. Shalom to the elder brother Yahudym. Shalom to the younger brother Ephraim. Shalom to the former stranger, the former foreigner who was formerly estranged from the everlasting covenant, but having received the Ruach of adoption, the Ruach of HaKadosh, the Ruach of the Mashiach, and whereby having been engrafted into the olive tree, and whereby becoming fellow citizens of Yahshua, as the olive tree is Yahshua, and the olive tree is Yahusha, and whereby becoming privy to the same everlasting covenant and promise and inheritance that was given to Yahshua and to Yahshua alone. Shalom and good evening to you. Peace and blessings. Shalom and barak to you and your entire house. Shalom to the elder brother Yehuda, to the younger brother Ephraim, and to the former stranger who has engrafted into us. Shalom. Shalom to you and your entire house on this evening. Once again, to those of you who are on YouTube, who will hear this teaching, this message later on, we're grateful that the Master, Yahuwah, has sent you our way, has sent you to partake with us as we all sit at the Master's table and partake of the food that he would have for us in this Muadah, in this appointed time. We are grateful that he sent you our way to fellowship with us on this, our Yahuwah's Remnant Fourth Day Gathering, otherwise known as Wednesday. We do not take it for granted. We're grateful that the Master has sent you here because, again, there are a plethora of channels that you could be listening to, but the Master, in his great compassion, has sent you our way. So again, once again, for those of you who would desire to join us live, either on our Fourth Day gatherings or on our Shabbat gatherings, there is an email address that we're going to list here in the comment section. No, I think we're going to list it in the description block. You'll find an email address there of which you may use to contact us if you desire to either fellowship with us on either our Fourth Day gatherings or on our Shabbat gatherings. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to even more to fellowshipping with you. Nevertheless, shalom to you and your entire house. Peace and blessings. Shalom and barak to you. Welcome once more to Yahuwah's Remnant Midweek Gathering. I am Daoud Ben Yahuwah, and this is my Aisha Ashiyah.
Shalom.
Shalom, shalom to you. Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah, Barak Yahuwah. The journey continues. This very important journey to Mount Zion, it continues in this, the consummation of the times. This indeed is the consummation of the times. We are living in unprecedented times. We are living in times that the earth has never seen before, and we are on the brink of times of which the earth has never seen before. We are on the brink. Hear him, hear him. We are on the brink to Hasatan himself, the devil, coming to this earth and putting on flesh. Yes, he is. We're on the brink of this. We are on the brink of this. Look no further. This is why you're so distracted. This is why there are so many distractions going amok in this season. Whether it's COVID, or whether it's this puppet election, or whether it's our police shootings, or whether it's white supremacy, or whether it's explosions going on around the world, or whether or not it's hurricanes in the Gulf of Mexico. There are a myriad of distractions that are going on in this season that are strategically sent to cause you to become unfocused. Meanwhile, we are at the brink, we are at the cusp of Hasatan himself, the devil, coming to this earth and putting on flesh. Indeed, this is the purpose of the distraction, Yahudah. This is the purpose of all the distractions that are going on. Indeed, the distractions that are going on, regardless of what is going on in the world, whether it's COVID or elections or explosions going on around the world, or whether or not it's police shootings, or whether or not it's this puppet election. Whatever is going on, this pales in comparison. It pales in comparison to what is soon to come upon this earth. And so for you, Yahudym, for you, Yahudah, and all who adjoin or attach themselves to us, we must focus. We must focus unlike we've ever focused before. We must not take our eyes off of the cloud. We must not take our eyes off of him. Wherever he leads us, we must go. If he does not move, then we cannot move. If he moves, then only then must we move. We must not take our focus off of the cloud, Yahudah. We must not take our focus off of the cloud. We're too close. We are too close to the Master coming to gather his elder son, his elder daughter. We are too close, and this is why these distractions are running amok. They are sent to cause us, Yahudah, to take our eyes off of the cloud. But for those of us who have that expectation of making it to Mount Zion, who have that expectation of enduring unto the end, although we have very little strength, yet we are determined to not deny his name. This is the consummation of the times. Listen, please hear him. We've never embarked upon a time like this before. Ever. This is the consummation of the times. Hasatan, the devil himself, is getting ready to come to this earth and put on flesh. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. And thus the distractions are running amok. The distractions within and without the house of Yahud are running amok. And so the Master has sent his servant as a voice crying out in the wilderness to cause his people to focus. To cause his people to focus on the cloud, and to cause his people to indeed to walk as Yahudym, to be found worthily as walking as Yahudym, and to understand what it looks like to walk as a Yahudym, what a Yahudym looks like, to make the distinction between what is true Yahudah and what is the nations, what is Ephraim, what is Ephraim, because line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, the Master has stated the case, yes he has, that indeed Yahudah goes first. Yahudah is the first to be redeemed from this earth. Yahudah is the first to be brought to Mount Zion, to be brought in the presence of Yahuwah, and to be given a song that no one else can sing, and then the first to be brought back to our land. Ephraim, as he has taught us, will not come out of the nations until after the great distress. Yahud chapter 31 was read earlier tonight. This is what it is speaking to. It is speaking of Ephraim, his firstborn, and that he does not deny, the Master does not deny Ephraim. He loves Ephraim because he loved Yahusaph, who is the father of Ephraim. He loves him. But Ephraim is the younger child. He is the younger son. He is the younger daughter who is still operating in folly. And so that folly must be driven out of Ephraim. But that folly will be driven out of Ephraim via the fires and via the chastening rod of the great distress. Ephraim is destined for the great distress. As a whole, hear him. Ephraim is destined for the great distress. But even this is love. This is love. This is the father, a father chastising his son in which he loves in order to drive the folly from him so that he can be brought back into covenant with him. Indeed, speaking of covenant, Ephraim was divorced in the year 722 BCE. Ephraim is still divorced as a whole. And so when the nations now come back into covenant with Yahuwah, They must come back into covenant via Yahushua HaMashiach, the Mashiach. They must come back into covenant through him, a Yahudi man. And when they come through him, they re-engraft into the olive tree. They become wild branches of the olive tree. Yahudah is the natural branches of the olive tree because Yahudah was never divorced. And so it is imperative for you nations. It is imperative for you to understand now what true Yahudah looks like and what it looks like to walk as Yahudym, which is to say, what does it look like to walk as Yahuwah's covenant people? Because this could be the difference between life and death. This could be the difference between being lured out as Sanballat tried to lure Nehemiah and Nehemiah out to the valley of Ono, where he wants to lure us out there so that we will be caught up saying, oh no, how did we end up here? So you must understand, nations. You must know what a true Yahudi looks like, what it looks like to what it looks like to be his covenant people, to walk as his covenant people. What does his true covenant people look like? What does a true Yahudi man and Yahudi woman looks like? You must understand what that looks like. And the master, line upon line, precept upon precept, has made it clear. He has made it plain to us what it looks like to be a Yahudi, what it looks like to walk as Yahudym, what it looks like to be Nazarene, branches of the branch, branches of Hanatsar, Yahushua HaMashiach, being a replica, a duplicate of him as he is, we are on earth. This is what it looks like, truly looks like to be a Yahudi. If it don't look like Yahushua, if it does not look like Yahushua, it's wrong. If it doesn't look like Yahushua, it's wrong. He is our blueprint. He is the ultimate Yahudi man. He is whom we are supposed to look like. And if we don't look like him and we're not walking like him, then it's wrong. It's wrong. Here, there is no more of important of a time to get this, to grasp this, that if it does not look like Yahushua, it's wrong. Because indeed, this indeed is the consummation of the times. This earth is never going to be the same again. Everything we see going on now is one big distraction, distracting the world, distracting the earth from the coming of the anti-Mashiach Hasatan in flesh. It is all one big distraction to distract you from that, nations. To distract you from the fact that Hasatan, in this consummation of time, is getting ready to put on flesh and come to this earth as the anti-Mashiach, in which the Christian church calls the Antichrist. It won't be long. It won't be long. But according to Scripture, he has promised to keep his elder son, his elder daughter, Yahudah. He has promised to keep us from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth, provided that we are indeed walking as Yahudym. That we are indeed walking as Yahudym. And so tonight is no different. Line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. The Master has sent me by tonight once more to remind you that we must follow the cloud. We must follow the cloud, no different than our ancestors in the wilderness. We must follow the cloud. If we follow the cloud, it will save our lives. If we follow the cloud, following the cloud will save our lives. Yes, only the cloud, only following the cloud in this season will save our lives. And in following the cloud, if it does not look like Yahushua, if it doesn't look like him, it's wrong. It's wrong. If you don't get anything else from this teaching tonight, get this. If it doesn't look like Yahushua, it's wrong. That this is the consummation of the times. That very soon, that Hasatan is getting ready to put on flesh and come to this earth. And the earth is going to embark upon a time unlike it's ever seen before. And if those days are not short, no flesh is going to remain. If you don't get anything else from this, get this. Get this. And begin to learn what it looks like to walk as Yahudym. What it looks like to walk as Yahudym. If you're taking notes this night, if you're taking notes, the title of this message is Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 72. Walk as Yahudym. Searching for the Ancient Path, Part 72. Walk as Yahudym. We pick up this journey tonight in the 15th chapter of Matat Yahu of Matthew. In the 15th chapter of Matat Yahu, picking this up, let's turn there and let's follow the cloud, Yahudah. Let's follow the cloud. The cloud was placed in the midst of his covenant people. And the cloud still is to this day placed in the midst of his covenant people. It just so happened that his covenant people now is the house of Yahudah, because Ephraim was divorced in the year 722 BCE, and Ephraim is still divorced as a whole. Again, if the nations come into fellowship, into covenant with Yahuwah, they engraft into the house of Yahudah, because it is written that the staff, the scepter, shall not pass from Yahudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shilu, who is Yahushua HaMashiach, comes. Then 2 sticks will become one, and Ephraim, who is firstborn, who is Yashar, will be rejoined to Yahudah, and we will become one woman. We will become one nation, one house of Yashar, with one sovereign, who is in the loins of sovereign Dawood, who is of the seed of sovereign Dawood, Yahushua HaMashiach, who will come and sit on the throne of Dawood and govern and rule over the whole house of Yashar, and govern and rule over all the nations. Then the woman, Yashar, who is Kua, will be rejoined to her husband and will rule with Elohim, will rule with her husband, Adam, the second Adam, Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua HaMashiach. But for now, our focus is the cloud, and our focus is walking as Yahudym. Because if our focus is not the cloud, and our focus is not walking as Yahudym, nothing matters. Nothing else matters. We're going to be left with Ephraim to suffer the great distress. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. If we don't focus on the cloud and walking as Yahudym, walking as his covenant people, walking as Yahushua himself, nothing that the Master has said through me matters. It don't matter. You're going to be left to the fires of the great distress, to be corrected, to have the folly driven from you. So now let's look at the cloud. Let's follow him. Let's follow him, so as to ensure that we are walking like him, so as to ensure that we are walking as Yahudym. Matthew chapter 15, Matat Yahu chapter 15. Let's read through here and let's follow the cloud. Let's follow the cloud. Let's follow the cloud, who will lead us all the way to Mount Zion. Matat Yahu, Matthew chapter 15, beginning at verse 1. Read, little one.
Then there came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees from Jerusalem.
Then there came to Yahushua scribes and Pharisees. It came to him priests and Levites, scribes and Pharisees of the sect of the scribes and of the Pharisees, coming to Yahushua, those who were very learned in the Torah. Read.
Why do your taught ones transgress the tradition of the elders?
Why do your taught ones transgress the tradition of the elders? Firstly, walking as Yahudym. Walking as Yahudym and following the cloud. Who is the cloud? The cloud is Yahushua. Who is Yahushua? Yahushua is the living Torah. As Yahudym, we must first understand that everything must be according to Torah. We cannot go wrong with following the Torah. We cannot go wrong with following the cloud. Everything according to Torah. Everything according to Torah. All things according to Torah. If it's not Torah, it's wrong. If it's not Yahushua, it's wrong. All things according to Torah. Why do your taught ones not follow the tradition of the elders of the fathers? By doing what, little one?
For they do not wash their hands when they eat bread.
For they do not wash their hands when eating bread. Nowhere in the Torah does it speak of the ceremonial washing of the hands before you eat bread. Nowhere in the Torah does it speaks of this. All things according to the Torah. This was the man-made doctrines and traditions of men. This was religion. Religion is the man-made doctrines and commandments of men. We see this inside and outside the house of Yahuwah. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We see this still to this day. People, what? What does the Torah tell us? What does the Torah teach us? It teaches us to what? Don't add to it and don't take away from it. Just do what it tells you to do. Don't add to it and don't take away from it. But the master takes it a step further. He says, not only do you not add to it nor take away from it, but you must understand the deeper spiritual matters, the deeper spiritual implications of which this is trying to teach you. You must also understand that, because that letter, it will still kill you. And so the Torah teaches us to neither add nor take away from it. They were adding to it. This is religion. We find this in the Christian church. We find this also in the religious sects of the so-called house of Yahshua. They're still adding and they're still taking away. And this is contrary to the Torah. So if it's not in Torah, do not add to it. Do not add to it, and this will remove a whole lot of stress from us. We must follow the cloud. We must follow the cloud. If we follow the cloud, we will neither add nor take away to what is written in the Torah. No, we won't. No, we won't. We will neither add nor take away from what is written in the Torah. We will not add the man-made doctrines and traditions of men to his Kadosh word. Simply understand this. All things must be according to Torah. All things must be according to Torah. So here they confront the Mashiach and saying to him, the living Torah, why do your taught ones not obey the traditions of the elders, the man-made doctrines and commandments of men, by not washing their hands before they eat? They were under the impression that if they did not wash their hands before eating, then that defiled whatever they were eating. It made it unclean. If they didn't wash their hands, it made it unclean, whatever they were eating. Some of you won't eat now unless you wash your hands. No, you won't. Some of you won't eat now unless you wash your hands. No, you won't. No, you won't. You simply won't. Why, little one? Because you say it's nasty, right? Isn't that what they say, little one? Now, in your words, it's nastery. That's your words. But they'll say it's unclean. They'll say it's nasty. What is the master? What does he say is unclean? Isn't it written in the Torah? Isn't it written in the Torah? Is it practical to wash your hands before eating? Sure, little one. But is it something unclean? No, it is not. It is not. But some, they still won't eat until they've washed their hands in warm water, scrubbing their hand in warm water for at least 5 minutes before they eat. Some of y'all still scared of this COVID. Oh, yes, you are. You still scared of this COVID. And you won't eat without washing your hands. Because you're scared. You're scared. It is the Torah which determines what is clean and what is unclean. Yes, it does. It is the Torah and the Torah alone that determines what is clean and what is unclean. All things according to Torah. Now, don't you go and tell someone that I told you not to wash your hands before eating. I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that. It is practical to wash your hands before eating, especially if you scratched yourself or done something of that nature. You should wash your hands. It's just practical. It's just a practical something. It's just practical to do. But it does not make you unclean. So they thought that by not washing their hands before eating, that it made that which they were eating unclean. It made it defiled. All things according to Torah. All things according to Torah. Come on, read.
But he answering said to them, why do you also transgress the command of Elohim?
Why do you also transgress the command of Elohim?
Because of your tradition.
Because of your tradition.
For Elohim has commanded, saying, respect your father and your mother. And he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death.
Let him be put to death. Some are still doing this. There are many in the so-called house of Yahuwah who are all caught up in religion, who are all caught up in the show of things. Yes, they are. Who are all caught up in the outer cup of things. When the inner cup looks like a stained coffee cup, little one. It looks like a stained coffee cup that hadn't been washed in 5 years. You ever seen a stained coffee cup that hadn't been washed, little one? Yes. It's real disgusting, isn't it? So many of them, they're concerned with the outer. They're concerned with the religious appearance of things, but the inner cup is as filthy as a 5-year-old unwashed coffee cup. And they're concerned with these things, but they won't do something as simple as honor their mother or their father. They won't do something as simple as honor their mother or their father. But you are concerned with the outer appearance of things. You are concerned about that. And you're also you're more concerned with appearance than righteousness. You're more concerned with opening your mouth and having the appearance of righteousness rather than doing righteousness. The master has a word for you. He says your throat is like an open grave. That's what he says. That's what he says. Because you're more concerned with the outer appearance than what's inside. More concerned with adding and taking away and self-righteousness trying to be righteous based on your own self-righteous acts outside of the Torah, in which is a stench into the master's nostrils. We still got modern day Pharisees. There are still modern day Pharisees abounding. The Christian church is the biggest modern day Pharisee. They are full of self-righteousness, trying to establish their own righteousness outside of righteousness, which is found in Torah. They're full of self-righteous folk, but not just them. Not just them. Religion in general is full of self-righteous folk. There are people who call themselves Yahudym who are full of religion, full of self-righteousness. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they're more concerned with outer appearance than allowing the master to deep wash that coffee-stained cup that hadn't been washed in 5 years. They're more concerned with the outer. And this is what these people were concerned with. There ain't nothing new under the sun. Come on, read, little one.
But you say, whoever says to his father or mother, whatever profit you might have received from me has been dedicated, is certainly released from respecting his father or mother. Mm-hmm. So you have nullified the command of Elohim. You have
nullified the command of Elohim by your tradition. Read.
By your tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Hypocrites. Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying.
Yeshayahu rightly prophesied about you, saying. Come on, read.
These people draw near to me with their mouths.
These people draw near to me with their mouths, because if you're not obeying his commandments, if you're not obeying what is in the Torah, all things according to Torah. Obeying the Torah is following the cloud. He is the living Torah. All things according to Torah. If you're not following the cloud, if it don't look like Yahusha, if you're not obeying the Torah, you're only obeying him with your mouth. You only have an appearance of righteousness. These people honor me with their lips, but what?
And respect me with their lips,
uh-huh.
But their heart is far from me.
But their heart is far from me. To honor the master is to obey him. It is to obey him, to honor him, to love him, is to serve him. It is to obey him. It is to follow the cloud. True covenant people, true Yahudym, we follow the cloud. We don't add to, we don't take away. We have no traditions of men. There are no traditions of men amongst us. If it ain't Torah, it's wrong. If it doesn't look like Yahusha, who is the living Torah, it's wrong. All things according to the Torah. All things according to Torah. Come on, read.
But in vain do they worship me.
But in vain do they worship me.
Teaching as teaching the commands of men.
Teaching as teachings the commands of men. Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Taoism, Satanism, whatever there is this. It's religion, and it is a stench to his nostrils. It is the tradition. It is founded from the traditions of men. It is founded from the traditions of men. We loathe, like our master, we loathe the traditions of men. A true Yahudi does. and we simply follow the cloud. We simply follow the cloud, and we simply do what he tells us to do. Again, the cloud is Torah. He is the living Torah, and we simply do what he tells us to do. And if we continue to do so, if we continue to guard his word, his Torah of endurance, and do not deny his name following the cloud, this will lead us all the way to Mount Zion. Come on, read.
And calling the crowd near, he said to them,
Listen.
Hear and understand.
Hear and understand.
Not that which goes into the mouth defiles the man.
Not that which goes into the mouth defiles the man.
But that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles the man.
But that which comes out of the mouth, this defiles a man. He ain't talking about food, Christian. No, he ain't. He's not talking about food. Keep listening. Read.
Then his taught ones came and said to him, Do you know that the Pharisees stumbled when they heard this word? But he answering said, Every plant which my heavenly Father has not planted shall be uprooted. Leave them alone. They are blind leaders of the blind.
They are blind leaders of the blind. Read.
And if the blind leads the blind, both shall fall into a ditch. And Kepha answering said to him, Explain this parable to us. And Yahushua said, Are you also still without understanding? Do you not understand that whatever enters into the mouth goes into the stomach and is cast out in the sewer?
It's cast out in the sewer. It's purged out in the sewer. Come on, I'm going to behave. Read.
But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man.
And these defile the man. What comes forth from the heart, these defile the man. Read.
For out of the heart come forth wicked reasonings.
From out of the heart comes forth wicked reasonings.
Murders. Adulteries. Whoring. Thefts. False witnesses.
Slanders. See what I'm saying, little one? These modern day Pharisees, they're worried about the outer. But that cup, that inner cup, is like a 5-year-old unwashed coffee cup. See, you need to understand what a true Yahudi looks like. A true Yahudi is more concerned with the inner cup. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. He is more concerned with the inner cup than the outer. And a true Yahudi, you will know. Because from the good treasure of the heart of a good man, what comes forth, little one? Good fruit. Good fruit. And from the treasure of a wicked heart comes forth wicked fruit. For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Yes, it does. All you got to do is listen. Just listen here. And when you hear it, do not deny the fruit. Do not ignore the fruit when you hear it. Because hear me, hear him. This is the consummation of the times. You must know what a true Yahudi looks like. What his true covenant people look like. You must know. Lest you be led to the valley of oh no, saying, oh no, how did I end up here? You must know. Do not accept, oh, that slipped. That slipped out. That slipped the cootie. That slipped out. No. That was on the shelf. It was already on the shelf. Yes, it was. It was already on the shelf. You need to take an inventory of that shelf. There needs to be an introspection, an inventory done of that shelf. And some things that are obsolete on that shelf, they need to be discarded. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. An inventory needs to be done, and every obsolete thing on that shelf needs to be discarded. Out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. Yahusha, if it don't look like Yahusha, is wrong. There was never anything unclean that proceeded from his mouth. Never. His lips were clean. There was never an unclean thing that proceeded from his mouth. There was never a hateful word that proceeded from his mouth. There was only right ruling and righteousness that proceeded from his mouth. If it don't look like the cloud, if it don't look like Yahusha, it's wrong. Stop making excuses, lest you be left to the valley of oh no, drawn out with someone who you thought was your Ak or your Akuti. If it don't look like Yahusha, it's wrong. It's wrong. It's simply wrong. But these words go out to you. Because he's given us an opportunity to go in and take an introspection, to take an inventory of that shelf, and to go in and discard everything that is obsolete, that you brought from your past life, that you brought from the church, to discard those fleas of which you picked up when you were running with dogs. He's given us an opportunity to do that introspection, to do an inventory of that inner shelf and remove everything that ain't supposed to be there. Because if it ain't righteous, if it's not righteous, it has no business being on that shelf. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. The lips of a Yahudym should speak no unrighteousness. The lips of a Yahudym should speak no falsehood. Should do no false matter. We examine the inner cup. We ain't worried about the outer. We're like Yahudim. It don't matter if we have to wear camel's hair and a leather belt. We don't care about the outer. It's the inner that will get us to Mount Zion. Come on, read.
These defile the man.
These defile the man. What come from your wicked heart?
But to eat with unwashed hands.
But to eat with unwashed hands.
Does not defile the man.
Does not defile the man. Take your traditions. Take your traditions. That they need to go the same place where that food used when it is purged. I'll be nice. It needs to go to the outhouse. This is where your traditions belong. All things according to Torah. If it don't look like Yahusha, it's wrong. We must follow the cloud. Come on, read, little one.
And Yahusha went out from there and withdrew to the parts of Zur and Zadum. And see, a woman of Canaan came from those borders and cried out to him, saying, Have compassion on me, O master.
Have compassion on me, O master.
Son of Dawood.
Son of Dawood.
My daughter is badly demon possessed.
My daughter is badly demon possessed. Come on.
But he did not answer her a word.
But he did not answer her a word. Come on.
And his taught ones came and asked him, saying.
And his taught ones came to him asking, saying, read.
Send her away because she cries after us.
Send her away because she cries after us. Come on.
And he answering said, I was not sent except to the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal.
I was not sent except for the lost sheep of the house of Yasharal. I was only sent for my covenant people. Come on. I was only sent for my covenant people. Read.
But she came and was bowing to him, saying, Master.
Oh, whoa. But she came bowing to him, saying, Master. Come on.
Help me.
Help me, master. Read.
And he answering said, It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs.
It's not good to give the children's bread and give it to the little dogs. Come on.
But she said, Yes, master.
Yes, master. Read.
For even the little dogs eat the crumbs which fall from their master's table.
Even the little dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Come on.
And Yahusha answering said to her.
But Yahusha answering said to her, come on.
O woman, your belief is great.
Oh, woman, your belief is great.
Let it be to you as you desire.
Let it be to you as you desire. Barak Yahuwah. See, I was talking, I've said this on a couple of different occasions. Now, we're not going to take away from this one belief. She had belief. She had belief, and you must have the belief to be healed. Absolutely. You must first have the belief to be healed. But there's another ingredient that you must have. Yes, it is. There's another ingredient that you must have. I was talking with someone the other day, and the master through me said to them, you know, you take a good artist. You take a very good artist, and you give him a blank canvas. And from that blank canvas, that artist, that good artist, he can create a masterpiece. Yes, he can. He can create a Mona Lisa. He can create a masterpiece. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. You see, this same analogy, however, it applies to the master. You must first have belief, but you also must have humility. You must have humility. Yes, you do. You want to be healed? You have to have humility. You must have humility. You see, with humility to the master, it's like a blank canvas to him. You come to him humbly, he can create a masterpiece. He can create a masterpiece in you. And without humility, you won't be healed. No, you won't. It is written, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then shall I hear from Shamayim and forgive their crimes and heal their land. He'll heal you too. He'll heal you too. You must have humility. You must be like the Roman centurion whose servant was dying, and the Yahudym came to the master and said that he is worthy. He's been good to us. He's built synagogues for us. He's built assembly places for us. He's been good to us, and he's worthy of this. The master went walking that way. But this Roman centurion, who was very important, came out before he came to the house. He says, Master, no. He says, I'm not even worthy for you to come to my house. You see, I'm a man of authority as well. And see, I give a man an order, and I tell him to go this and go do that, and he does it. And so I know what it is to have authority. You speak but a word, Master. You speak but a word, and my servant shall be healed. You see, there was two things present here. That was humility, little one, and that was belief. There was humility, and that was belief. You must have humility, and you must have belief. You must humble yourself. You know, and there's another thing about being humble. Humble means what? It means to be quiet. It means to be quiet. If you're talking all the time, I know that you're not humble. If you're talking all the time, and if you're talking all the time, you can't shut up long enough to be healed. No, you can't shut up long enough to be healed. These people, they went to the master with their petition. They went to him in humility. They went to him in humility and belief. If you're talking all the time, you're talking too much to be healed. You're talking too much to be healed. You must have belief. And you must have humility. This is the recipe. You must have belief, and you must have humility. Come on, read, little one.
And her daughter was healed from that hour.
And her daughter was healed from that very hour. Come on, read.
And moving from there, Yahusha came toward the Sea of Galilee. And going up on the mountain, he was sitting there. And large crowds came to him, having with them those who were lame, blind, dumb, crippled, and many others. And they laid them down at the feet of Yahusha.
Come on.
And he healed them.
And he healed them. Of course he did. Because he is a living Torah. He is a Torah made flesh. And it is written in the Torah that if you are careful to obey his Torah, his commandments, that he will both take away the sicknesses of Egypt and he will keep them away. So he, being the living Torah, had to obey himself. Of course they were healed. Because this is written in the Torah. This is written in the Torah. This is the manifestation of Torah right before our eyes. This is Torah coming off the pages when these people were healed. This is Torah coming off of the pages. This is what it looks like to walk as Yahudi. Yes, it is. This is what it looks like to walk as Yahudi. I was talking to little one, I think it was yesterday, and the master put something in my room. It was when the master was laying in the bow of the boat sleeping. And there was a great tempest, as the scripture describes, that came on the waters, and the boat became tossed to and fro. But he was sound asleep in shalom in the bow of the boat. But he, being Yahuwah, as Yahuwah began to speak to me yesterday, he was well aware of what was going to happen. He knew the end from the beginning. He always knows the end from the beginning. If you can understand this, although he was asleep in the bow of the boat, he was watching the whole thing. Barak Yahuwah. He was watching the whole thing. So let me see what my sons are going to do. Let me see what my sons are going to do. So he was aware that they were going to become fearful and going to come wake him up. And they wake him up and they said, Master, don't you care that we are perishing? Don't you care? And he responded to them. He says, why are you so afraid? Why is your belief so low? Why are you so afraid? And he simply stood up and rebuked the wind and the waves, and it ceased. And a great fear fell upon them. And they said these words. They said, what manner of man is this? What manner of man is this that the seas and the wind obey? What manner of man is this that the seas and the wind obey. Now we know that Yahuwah is not a man. No, he isn't. He's not a man. He created a body for himself in the image of man in which to dwell in. But hear him, he came as you and I. He's not a man. No, he isn't. He came as you and I. So I draw your attention to what manner of man is this? You see, he was trying to teach them. He's trying to teach you and I, Yahudah, what manner of man we can be. What manner of men we can be. We find a precept of this. We find an example of this. And 1 Thessalonians, the 1st chapter, when Shaul are writing to the assembly at Thessalonica, tells them that in bringing the Bashorah to them, and bringing the Bashorah to them, that he didn't bring the Bashorah, the good news and word only, but the Bashorah came to them in power and in the mighty workings of Elohim. So that why? So that they would know what manner of men they were. So that they would know what manner of men they were. This is what the master's trying to get you to understand, Yahudah. What manner of men we are to walk as Yahudah. That was Elohim in flesh who came to show Yahudah how to walk as Yahudym. He said, we did this so that you would know what manner of men we are. What manner of men we are. After the ascension of the master, Kapha, another Yahudi man, would walk in the streets, and the people would place their sick in the street just to catch the shadow of Kapha, so that the sick will be healed. He's trying to show us, Yahudah, what manner of men we are. And this being the consummation of the times, we've got to seek to walk in this way. What manner of men we are, what manner of men we can be as Yahudi men, as his covenant people, of which this cloud dwells in the midst of. We must follow the cloud. Look at him. Look at him. Look at the cloud. Look at what he just did. Follow the cloud. We must follow him. Read.
So that the crowd marveled when they saw the dumb speaking.
So that the crowd marveled when they saw the dumb speaking. This is the consummation of the times when the master is trying to save lives. He's trying to save lives. And we must be like our Yahudi fathers, bringing the Bashorah not just in word, but also in power, so that they will know what manner of men we are, but more importantly, so that they will know who sent us and who is in us, so that he will be esteemed through us, so that the nations will be drawn out of darkness into his marvelous light, and perhaps be saved from the hour of trial which is soon to come upon this earth. Come on, read.
The crippled well,
Uh-huh.
the lame walking,
Yes.
and the blind seeing.
Uh-huh.
And they praised the Elohim of Yasharal.
Ah, look at that, little one. Didn't he just speak that through his servant? And they praised the Elohim of Yasharal because of this. This is what it is about. This is what it is about. Esteeming the Father, doing these true works of the Torah, esteeming the Father. They praised Yahuwah. They praised Yahuwah because of these words. This is what it is about. This is what it looks like to walk as Yahudi, to be lights in the midst of the nations, to go and to grab Ephraim, the younger brother. Do you know that do you not understand that this is what this is about? We are the older brother. We've never been divorced. We've never been we've never been out of covenant with the master, as written in the 15th chapter of Luke. But you've always been with me, older brother. You've always been with me. I sent your way. I put your way because of your filth, but I never divorced you. You're still my covenant people. The elder, the older brother, whom he's called in this season to go get the younger brother. Go get Ephraim. Go get him. Go get the nations. Go get the Gentiles, because Ephraim is every nation, tribe, and tongue. Go get him. Go grab him by the collar. Our Father has sent us to go get him before he gets in trouble. He has sent us to go get him because the proverbial street lights are coming on. And he sent us to go get him and grab him by the collar and bring him into the house so that he won't get in trouble when night falls, when darkness falls, when the kingdom of darkness comes to this earth and Hasatan puts on flesh. He's preparing us to go get Ephraim. We've got to go get him. And we cannot go to him operating in word only. We must go like Shaul, a sent one, but you must be sent. Coming in word and in the manifestation of power, so that they will know what manner of men, Yahudi men, we are, so that the master may be esteemed through us, so that they will come out of darkness into his marvelous light and perhaps be saved from the hour of trial that is soon to come upon this earth. Come on, read, little one.
And Yahusha, having called his taught ones near, said,
Come on.
I have compassion on the crowd.
Oh, the master's already laid this foundation. He was always moved by compassion. And we too must always be moved by compassion. Our love manifests in compassion. Yes, it does. To love someone, it manifests in compassion. No greater love than this has a man for his brothers than to lay down his life for them. Love manifests in compassion. And this is Torah. Torah is both love and compassion. Yes, it is. What are the weightier matters of the Torah? The right ruling, the compassion, and the belief. Torah is compassion. Torah is love. And so as Yahudi men operating in Torah, being living Torahs, we must always be motivated by compassion and move by compassion for the people. If it don't look like Yahusha, if it don't look like Torah, if it don't look like the cloud, it's wrong. Even the works of healing and the works of healing and the casting out of devils, it must always come from a place of Torah. It must always come from a place of love and compassion. Always. If it doesn't look like Yahusha, it's wrong. Come on, read.
Because they have now continued with me 3 days and do not have whatever to eat.
Come on.
And I do not wish to send them away hungry.
And I do not wish to send them away hungry. Come on.
Lest they faint on the way.
This is Torah. To feed the hungry. I'm not going to go back over that. But this is Torah. You know Torah. This is Torah, to feed the hungry. Yes, it is. If you're not familiar with it, go back and read the Torah. This is Torah. We are to feed the hungry. This is the manifestation of Torah. Read.
And his taught one said to him, where are we to get enough bread in the desert to satisfy such a large crowd?
Where are we to get enough bread in the desert to feed a large crowd? He tried them again, little one. Teaching them how to be Yahudi, man. Teaching them what manner of men they can be. What manner of men that they are being called to be. Teaching them. Observing them. Watching them. Teaching them to be true Yahudi men. To be true covenant people. To be what? True sons of Elohim. To be true sons of Elohim. Read.
And Yahusha said to them, how many loaves do you have? And they said 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the crowd to sit down on the ground. And taking the 7 loaves and the fish, giving thanks, he broke them and gave to his taught ones, and the taught ones to the crowd. And all ate and were satisfied.
Barak Yahuwah.
And they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces.
Barak Yahuwah.
7 large baskets filled.
Barak Yahuwah. So the Torah was satisfied. The Torah was fulfilled here. He fed the hungry. Yes, he did. And so the Torah was fulfilled here in feeding the hungry. Irrespective of how much was there, the Torah was fulfilled there in him operating in him allowing the manifestation of the Torah to take place, and him demonstrating to his taught ones what it looks like to be a son of Elohim, what it looks like to be a true Yehudi man, what it looks like to do the true works of Torah, so that they will know what manner of men you are, Yehuda, so that they will esteem the master, so that they will esteem the master through us, and perhaps be drawn out of darkness into his marvelous light. Come on, read.
And those who ate were 4,000 men, beside women and children. And dismissing the crowd, he went into the boat and came to the borders of Magdala. That's it.
Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. How are we looking for time, little one?
54 minutes, 11 seconds.
54 minutes. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. Barak Yahuwah. I always like to stop soon. On 4th day nights, I don't like to go too far. Once again, I was just getting warmed up, little one. Oh boy, that engine was just getting warmed up. Just getting warmed up, but I want to be mindful. Oh, Master, I want to be mindful of those who have to punch the proverbial clock tomorrow. And so being mindful of that, I don't like to go too far on fourth day nights. I pray that this was enough of a snack, of a nugget, to once again push that proverbial can a little bit further down the road, or to a better analogy would be to more sharpen our focus, Barak Yahuwah, to focus on the cloud, to truly know what it looks like to follow the cloud, to be Yahudym, to be his covenant people, which is to be sons of Elohim, which is to be sons of Elohim. Again, Yahusha was Yahuwah wrapped up in flesh. He was wrapped up in flesh. He came as the son of Elohim. We are the sons of Elohim. And he came to show us how to walk as sons of Elohim, so that they would know what manner of men we are, not for our sake, but for the sake of the Master, so that he is esteemed through us, so that through us, the elder son, the elder daughter, who he wants to send, Shalah, who he wants to send to grab Ephraim, to grab that younger son by the collar who was divorced in 722 BCE. Grab him by the collar because the street lights are coming on. Darkness is coming upon the land, and drag him into the house, kicking and screaming before he gets into trouble. That house being the ark of the covenant, in which the doors are slowly shutting. And after he has sealed the full number of his people in this season, he will seal no more. And so as Yahudah, we must be found well doing. We must be found well doing, walking as Yahudah, walking as true Yahudym, doing the true works of the Torah, being found doing the work, so that when he comes with his reward, coming speedily with his reward, he will reward us according to the works that we have done. Thank you, Master, once again for this word that you continuously give us, for the food that you continuously give us, and showing us how to walk as Yahudym, and how to be your chosen people, your covenant people. How to walk as sons of Elohim, which is to walk as your covenant people, which is to follow the cloud, which is to follow Yahusha, who is the cloud, who is the Ruach HaKadosh, who is the Kabod, your very presence, who is you. You are Yahusha. You are one. You are Akkad. You are not a trinity, and you are not a twinity. You are one. You are Yahuwah alone, and you will share your esteem with none other. You are Yahuwah. You are our salvation. And you came wrapped up in flesh to your covenant people, Yahudah, to lead us to life, to show us what it looks like to be sons of Elohim, and to show us what it looks like to follow the cloud, to walk as Yahudah, to walk as Yahudym, to walk as your covenant people. We thank you, Master, for this continual work. We thank you for your continual warnings, for your continual word, and for the continual expectation that soon you are coming to gather your chosen people. We pray this night that not one word was cast by the wayside, and not one word was scattered on shallow soil, on shallow ground, that not one word, not one seed was scattered amongst thorns, but that this word, this seed, was scattered on fertile soil, fertilized soil, made conducive to the planting of seed, such that you will come and pour out living water upon that seed, such that it will grow to become a mighty tree, producing fruit, the fruit that leads to everlasting life. In Yahusha's name, so be it. For those of you on YouTube, once again, we're grateful that you stopped by on this fourth night gathering to join with us, to listen to the words of the Master. We pray that once again that you have been edified, that you've been encouraged, and that you've been challenged, and that you're not merely being a hearer of the words that the Master is speaking, that you're indeed conforming and becoming doers of the word, in which will save your life perhaps from the hour of trial, which is soon to come upon this earth. In the meantime, until the next time, Yahuwah barak you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and give you shalom. Thus you shall put my name on the children of Yasha'al, and I myself shall barak them. So be it, so be it, so be it. Shalom.